Understanding CSS media queries is essential if you're going to create responsive websites. Joy does an excellent job explaining how they work in this comprehensive course.
Hey guys, Joy here. In this video we're gonna learn CSS media queries and we're gonna also build 3 practical projects. So let's go. Okay, the first question is, what are CSS media queries and why should you even care? If you want to make responsive websites like this, you can see that this is the desktop version and this is the mobile version for the same website. You might be in situations where you have to design 4 different versions of the same website. One for the tablet, one for the desktop, one for the laptop and another one for the mobile version. So these are all possible using CSS media queries and you should definitely learn it. So we're building this website on project 2. On the third project we're going to be building this. So this is the mobile version and this is the desktop version. And we're going to build this on the first project. You can see that when we drag the window over here, you can see that our numbers, the width of our window changes live like this. And also the color of the background changes depending on the breakpoints we have defined on our media queries. Don't worry, we're going to discuss that also. So at the bottom, you can see that we have defined our breakpoints over here. And depending on that, our colors will change. So we're going to learn, first of all, little bit and then write little bit of code. So little bit of learning, little bit of doing. By the way, I have an entire article on CSS media queries. Through illustrations, I beautifully explain each and every aspect of CSS media queries so that you can either revise or learn media queries very easily, quickly and efficiently. If you are new to the channel, feel free to subscribe because I post videos based on practical web dev projects so that you can level up your coding skills. If that sounds interesting, hit the subscribe button and join my gang, and without further ado, let's get started. Alright, boys and girls, before coding, first of all we need to set up our environment. To do that, come to the window over here, right click, create a new folder, okay, and then name it anything you wish. I'm gonna name it project 1 like this, and then I'm gonna open it on VS Code. Right click and you're gonna get this option of open with VS Code. If you don't get it, what you're gonna do is you're gonna open VS Code. Then you're gonna click this file option over here and then open folder. Okay, so come to the desktop and then you can see the project 1 over here. Select folder. And now we can see that it has opened our folder over here. Click this plus sign and write index.html. Okay, and then for this project we're going to use Sass, not CSS, because it is more powerful and it has more options than regular CSS. Even if you are a beginner, start learning Sass along with CSS because it's going to be very handy and it's going to save you a lot of time. So click this icon again and write style.scss. Okay, and then we're gonna create for another file named main.js. The main purpose of creating this JavaScript file is that if you come back over here, you can see that this is loading live. Okay, so if I resize the window, you can see the value live. For this, we're gonna use JavaScript. So don't worry about it, it's very little JavaScript. On project 2, we're going to learn how we can make responsive images along with our responsive website. So for that, you need to download some images. The images are on my GitHub repository. The link of the GitHub repository is given in the description down below. So once you click on the link, you're going to copy the link from here, Ctrl C, and then if you scroll down, you're going to find these steps, or you can follow along with me. You click on downget, you go there and you paste the link that you copied earlier over here and you click this download option and it's gonna create the folder. Why are we doing this? That's because GitHub doesn't have a direct download link. Let me show you. If I go back, you can see that we don't have a download option over here. Alright, so now you're gonna drag this outside. It is actually a zip file. So media query project is the name of the folder over here. It contains 5 images. Okay, so once that's done, you're gonna rename the folder and name it to images. Wait, if you click on here, or you can also click F2 to rename the file, folder. So you're gonna write images like this. And now what you can do is you can either drag this inside or you open VS Code over here and then you drag the images folder over here to copy it. So now you're gonna click copy folder like this, and now your project folder should look like this. Okay, and now you write this sign and then hit tab. This is Emmet. If Emmet doesn't work for you, search Google why Emmet is not working on VS Code. You're gonna find appropriate solutions. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna link the SAS and the JavaScript file inside the HTML. Follow me. Link, you hit tab. Okay, and then you write style.sas like this. So we are linking this SAS file inside our HTML, and in order to link the main.js, come below the body over here at the middle over here. Okay, so you write script, there is the option, and over here you write main.js like this. Control S, and we are done. Change the document to media query practice. And inside over here, you write .container, T-A-I-N-E-R, tab, container tab, and then inside over here, we're gonna create a div with the class name text like this, .text tab. And over here, you write hello screen. Control S, and then below the container, not inside the container, below the container, you're gonna create a div with the ID size like this. Follow me. Hashtag size tab. So this is an ID, and don't forget that this is not inside over here, not inside the container, it is outside the container over here. Okay, so this will carry the width of our window. Let me show you again. If you come back to this pane over here, you can see that this is actually showing us live. Okay, and this is our ID inside our HTML, which is this one. We're gonna style this and then give it some function inside the JavaScript. So Control S, we are done with our HTML, and now come to the SAS part. Oh, you also need to download some extensions. So if you can't see this activity bar over here, what you're gonna do, you click this view and you click appearance, and you're gonna get this activity bar. Okay, and if you can't see the blue ribbon over here, you come to view and then appearance, and then you hit that status bar. Okay, so this is called status bar and this is called activity bar. So you come over to extensions and you hit you write live SAS, not live SAS, sorry, SAS compiler. Okay, and you're gonna get this over here, not this, sorry, live SAS compiler. You're gonna install live SAS compiler. Okay, and the next thing that you're gonna install is live server. This one, you're gonna install this one. Once you have installed the extensions, come back to our SAS file, and we also need to remove the default styles of our browser. In order to do that, you hit star, curly braces, and you set margin padding to 0 pixels each. To do that, M0px, tap, P0px, tap, and set the box sizing to border box. To do that, bow size, tap. Okay, bow tap, which is border box. Emmet does all the shortcuts for us. Now we're gonna set the font family inside the body as sans serif. Okay, S-A-N-S serif like this. We're gonna set the font size to 35 pixels like this. F size tab 35 pixels. Alright, we're done styling our default styles. You hit save, and then what you're gonna do, you can see this small option over here which is watch SAS. You're gonna click this. Okay, so once you have clicked on it, you're gonna get two files generated over here, which is style.css and style.css.map. Why is that? That's because the browser can't run our SAS file directly. It needs to convert from SAS to CSS, and then we can see it on our browser. That's why it is generating us this file over here, and you can see that this is all CSS, converted CSS from SAS to CSS. So now you're gonna come back to our index.html, and from here you're gonna remove the S and convert it to CSS from SAS. Control S, don't forget to save. Okay, and now we're gonna run this on our browser. In order to do that, you can either get an option over here which is open live server, or if you can't see the option over here like myself, what you're gonna do is right click over here and you can see this option open with live server. Click on it. And now it is running on a live server on our browser. Congratulations. Okay, so now let's come back to our VS Code. The next thing that we're gonna do is come to main.js, and we also need to now come back to the main.js file, and over here we're gonna write some very little bit of JavaScript so that we can actually run this on our project, which is this one, which will show us the live value of our width of our screen. So in order to do that, follow along with me. So first of all, you write window. Don't worry, I'm going to explain little by little what each line means. So window.onResize equal to screen, okay? And then write window.onload equal to screen, okay? And then we're going to create a function over here, function named screen, okay? And inside over here, you're going to write my width equal to window dot inner width over here, okay? Okay, now let me explain the JavaScript what I have written. So let's start with the window thing over here. This entire VS Code is a window, okay? This entire Google Chrome is a window. So now on resize and on reload, let me explain to you. So if you come back to our browser over here, I mean the project one, if you resize it like this, and now you can see that value changes. So it is happening live. So the function over here on load is working. On resize, what is happening? If you stretch it like this, on resize is working. So it is loading live. So which is this one, on load. And my width equal to window.inner width is working to show us the length from here to here. I mean the width. So that's how this thing is working, and now we also need to display it on our browser. So let me come back to our project. So we want to display it over here, okay? In order to do that, we're gonna write, we need to target our ID over here, which is this one, okay? In order to target that exact thing, what you're gonna write is document.getElementById. That's because it is an ID. If it was a class, then we would have written getElementByClassName. Don't worry about this. I'm gonna create an entire video on this topic in the future. So you're gonna write quotes and then size over here because the name was size, and then dot inner HTML like this. So the main purpose of inner HTML is to insert text inside our div with the class name of size over here, okay? And now we're gonna write equal to, and now we're gonna write some text, okay? Width colon, okay? And then you're gonna hit plus sign. Let me save it and show you what is happening. Remove the plus and just colon, okay? And now back to the browser, we can't see anything because we made a mistake over here. That's why we can't see anything. You write screen, Control S, and now we can see our text over here, all right? And now what we're gonna write is we want it, we want the width to be shown over here. In order to do that, what you're gonna write is you hit plus sign over here and you write the name of this variable, okay? So you write my width like this, Control S, and now we can see the value over here. So this is the pixel value. You come back to VS Code and you write another small word plus and then quotes pixels, PX, Control S, and now it is displaying successfully. Now let's bring it at the middle, at the center over here, okay? So come back to VS Code. Let me remove this because we don't need the activity bar, and we also don't need this bar from here, the status bar. All right, and we are also done with the main.js file. We don't need it, so you can minimize it, okay? And if you want to minimize this as well, you hit Control B. If you hit Control B again, then this panel will come back. Okay, so Control V, and now on the SAS file you target the container text and the size, hashtag size. So dot container curly braces like this, you target the text dot text like this, and you target the size, hashtag size like this. All right, so now we want the hello text to be at the very center. In order to do that, first of all we need to define the size, I mean the height of our container. If we don't define the height, what happens is, let me show you. Let's define some border around our container. Okay, border of, let's say, 4px solid red. Okay, Control S, minimize this, and now we can see that the container is just this portion of our browser, but we want it to be at the maximum, otherwise we can't work properly. So in order to do that, come back to VS Code, you set the height over here to 100 VH, which is the whole screen height. Control S, and now we can see that the container has stretched from here to here, and now we can work with our project successfully. Back to VS Code, you remove the border from here, Control S, and you can see the text has, our width has come to the very bottom over here. We want it to be at the very center, and this one over here as well. So come back to VS Code. You can center the hello text in two ways. You can either use the display grid, or you can also use the display flex. Let me show both of them. Okay, first write D flex. Okay, tab. If you write justify content to center, then it is gonna work on the x-axis. Okay, let me show you. So you can see that the hello screen has moved to the center of the x-axis. This is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. All right, so now back to VS Code. If you want to keep it at the center along the y-axis, what you have to write is align items center. Control S, minimize this, and let's see. You can see that this is at the very center. And if you want to use the grid, what you have to write is D grid tab display grid, and place items is the shorthand of both the x and y axis. So place content center like this, and you comment this from here. Control S, minimize it, and you can see that it's still working. And now we need to place this text at the very center over here at the bottom of hello screen. Back to VS Code. You come at the bottom over here, you write first of all position absolute, post apps tab position absolute, and then top 50 not 50 60% like this, left 50%. Like this, and let's see what is giving us the result. You can see that it is over here, but we want it to be at the very center, but it is not working. Why is that? Let me explain to you. On the x-axis I have defined 50%, so from here to here it is 50%, but actually this is the center. Okay, it should have worked from here to here, but it is working from here to here. So in order to fix that, you have to write the transform property, transform, and then translate x, which is the x-axis. You can also work with the y-axis, but not for this tutorial. I'm gonna make an entire video on the transform property, so make sure to subscribe so that you can get an update about this. Okay, so translate x minus 50%. Okay, Control S, and now we can see that our problem has been solved over here. Back to over here, you also set the font size to 35 pixels, font size 35 pixels like this. Control S, and we are done. Come back to the container over here and you give it a color of BGC. Tap set it to white for now. If I come back to my blog over here, I have defined a lot of colors. Wait, so these are the colors over here. I'm gonna copy it from here. Don't write right now, I'm gonna give you a moment. So control copy from here, come back to our VS Code. On the SAS at the very top, okay, over here I'm gonna paste it over here. Now pause the video, take a moment to write these lines of code over here, and don't forget to write the $sign, otherwise it is not gonna work. So these are called variables. So I'm storing our color hex values over here, and then we're gonna use it all along inside our project. Every time if you need to change something, You don't have to go through and read the entire document. What you have to do is you just change over here and then the entire document will be changed. That's why Sass is more powerful than regular CSS and it saves us a lot of time. We're gonna also define our breakpoints inside variables and then we're gonna use it to define our media queries. I'm gonna show that to you, don't worry about this. And yeah, I got these colors from this website over here, which is coolors.co. Let me show you. If you visit the website, you can find tons of colors over here. You can choose any color you want for your projects. Link of this website will be given in the description down below so that you can go and check it out. Okay, now back to VS Code. On the container, you remove this. Let me show you a sample of how these variables work. So it was hashtag FFF, which defined the white color. And if you want to bring this color 1 over here, I don't know what is the name, but let's say this is purple because I'm seeing purple over here. So if you want to bring that purple color over here, what you have to write is $color 1, Control S, and now you can see that the color 1, which is the purple color, has been applied over here. Oh, come back to the VS Code and on the hashtag size, you change the color to red so that we can better see what we are trying to do. Control S, and now we can see that we have achieved our desired result. Okay, now we're done with our setup. Let's start the tutorial. Let's say that I'm your friend and you don't even recognize me. In this cases, what I have to do is I have to tell my name to you. My name is Joy. In the same way, we have to tell the browser that we are defining a media query. That's why we write the term @media to tell the browser that recognize this is a media query. And then we write conditions over here like screen and then max width. Let's set it to, let's say, 768 pixels, and we also write the min width over here. Let's set it to, let's say, 768 pixels like this. So this media query @media query is a declaration telling the browser that we are starting a media query from here, and these are our conditions: the screen, which is the media type, and max width, min width. These are our conditions. Don't worry about this. I'm going to explain in details about each and every condition over here. Okay, and then inside these curly braces we're gonna define our styles over here. Okay, your styles are here. So once the browser recognizes our media query, and then if our styles, if our conditions are met, then all the styles that we have defined here will be applied on our browser. As simple as that. And you might have seen these operators, the comma and the and operator. Let me explain this to you right now. Let's say you have gone to a restaurant and you have ordered two things, burger and a pizza. So write this, burger and pizza. Okay, let's say that your friend has ordered burger, pizza and Coca-Cola, like this. Burger, you write comma, okay, pizza and Coca-Cola, like this. So let's see what is happening. Burger and pizza are two different commands. Okay, it is separated by what? A and these three things, you see, these are separated by a comma and the and. In the same way, these are our commands. Okay, so if you have let's say that just two commands, so what we are going to write is the and operator over here. Okay, but if you have three or more, then you are going to use the comma and the and operator like this. So let's say you have three commands, so Control V, which is the min width, you're going to write and over here, and you're not going to write and, you're going to write comma over here, and then it's going to work. So let's remove them. I hope you understood the operators, comma and the and operator. Now let's discuss about the media type. In total you have four options: all, print, screen and speech. Don't worry about all of these values because you're gonna use the screen option to make responsive website for electronic devices. Even if you don't declare the media type, it's gonna set it to all, this one, automatically. So skim through this chart over here. I hope you understood the media type over here. You can write either screen, all, or you can keep it blank, and it's gonna automatically define it to all. Now let's discuss about the max width function. What this does is it creates us a border, okay? So when we are inside that border, it's gonna work, but if we go outside that border, it's not gonna work. So see this illustration over here, you can see that the styles are applied inside this 500 pixels, but if we go outside the border of 500 pixels, it is not gonna apply the styles. It's gonna be blank white. Let me show you a demo about this. So over here you write brackets max width, let's set it to 500 pixels over here. Okay, Control S. You come back to our results screen over here. You can see that this is a purple color, and let's say that we're gonna set it to BGC tab. Okay, let's set it to $sign color 1 like this. Okay, Control S, and you come back to our container over here. So you remove this from here and you write hashtag FFF, which defines the white color. Okay, now minimize this and you hit F12, and now if we resize the window, oh, that's because you also need to write the name of the selector. In order to do that, what you're going to do is you remove this over here and you're going to write the selector, the container selector. Okay, .container over here, curly braces, and then you define it over here like this, Control S, and now it's going to work. Okay, so now we minimize this. So this, you can see that we have set our boundary to 500 pixels. As long as we are inside the 500 pixels, the color will be applied. But if we go outside, then it's not gonna get applied. So you can see that we are at 787 pixels and the color is not getting applied. If you resize the window like this, you can see the color is getting applied, which means that we're inside the border. It is 447 pixels. But if we go outside the border, wait, let me resize this. This is 499 pixels and it is the color purple. If you resize it, it is 579 pixels and it is white. The color is not getting applied. I hope you understood the max width function. Let's talk about the min width function. So this is the same thing. Inside the border, it is not gonna work. If you go outside the border, then it's gonna work. Let me show you a demo and then you're gonna get clear about this. Okay, now come back to VS Code and from here you write min width. Okay, let me give you a practical demo. Let's say that I am over here. I live in Bangladesh and we don't have Starbucks. So outside my border, let's say this is America. Okay, so America has Starbucks. So inside the border, here I am. If I go outside the border, which is if I go to America, then I'm gonna get Starbucks. But if I stay inside the border, then I'm not gonna get Starbucks. In the same way, inside the min width, our styles will not get applied. But if we get outside the border, our styles will get applied. Okay, so now on the VS Code, we just change the min width from max width. You come back to the results screen over here. Did we save it? No, we didn't save it. This is very crucial. You need to save your code, otherwise it is not gonna work. Control S, come back to the browser, and now we are actually outside the border. Which was our border? 500 pixels. Okay, so now you resize the window like this. So we are inside the border and our styles are not getting applied. But if you resize the window, let's say 489 pixels, this is inside the border. Okay, outside the border, inside the border, outside the border. I hope you understood the min width function. And now we're gonna write the code itself. To be honest, there is no such thing as a standard media query breakpoints because of various screen sizes on the market. For this tutorial, I'm gonna use the official Bootstrap 5 breakpoint chart. If you click this link over here, then you can see the various standard screen breakpoints defined by Bootstrap 5. So if you scroll down, you can see all the values over here. And we're going to define all of these breakpoints inside variables so that we can easily manage our code. So if you scroll down, you're going to find all of these values over here. So I'm going to copy them, Control C, and at the very top, okay, I'm going to paste it over here, Control V. Now pause the video and write these values over here. And also don't forget to write the $ at first, otherwise it's not gonna work. So this is the breakpoint for the mobile version. This is the breakpoint for the tablet, laptop and the desktop version. 576 pixels and so on. Now how we are gonna use this is, if you come back to the media query at the very bottom, you can see that this is 500 pixels, okay? So this is writing directly. Instead of writing directly over here, we write the variable, okay? $mobile, BILE, like this, and automatically the 576 pixels, which is this one, this value is 576 pixels, is applied over here, okay? Now the cool feature of writing like this is that if you need to change something, let's say you need to change the media query, you have to go through all these lines of code, you have to read all of them, which is a very big headache. So if you write like this using variables through CSS, if you need to change something, you don't have to go through all of the files, all of the lines of code, you just need to change it over here. How simple is that? That's why you should use CSS even if you're a beginner. Alright then, let's complete our project 1 and let's move to project 2. Okay, so in order to complete this, not min width, we're gonna write max width, okay? And then we're gonna set the color, which is I have written it on the comment. So color 1 is for the mobile version, color 2 for the tablet, and so on. So in order to do that, this is actually perfect. And then we're gonna write @media for the tablet max width, $tablet, like this. And over here we're gonna write container and curly braces, BGC tab, and define $color2 over here. Okay, a very quick tip. If you want to define media queries, first you're gonna write the biggest screen at the first and then smallest screen at the bottom. It's a descending order. So the largest will be at the first and descending and the smallest will be at the bottom. If you don't do this, then it's not gonna work. Let me show you a demo. Okay, so you come back to the browser over here. So the color 1, which was purple color, it is not working. Look, the color is not even changing. But if you write it in the reverse order, let me show you. So this is the mobile, smallest one first, largest one later. But if you write in the reverse order, Ctrl X, and you paste it over here, Ctrl V, Ctrl S, and then minimize it, and now it's working. Look, resize it. This is purple color. Look, it's 567 pixels. If you resize it, then it's gonna change the color over here. And on the 768, I guess, yes, 768 mark, then it's gonna change the color back to white, which is the default color. We defined it over here on the container, which is this one. And let's define our desktop and laptop as well. First, the smallest screen first, okay? Media, not screen, max width, with $laptop, like this. And over here we're gonna write .container, curly braces, then BGC tab, $color free, Ctrl S. Okay, then copy this, paste it over here. You just change the value from here to desktop, okay? And then the color will be color number 4, Ctrl S, and we're done with our project 1. Let's go and test it. So you resize the window, you can see the color is changing perfectly, okay? So this is desktop version. This is the laptop version, tablet, mobile. I hope you understood project 1. Let's move on to project 2. So we're gonna be building this for project 2. Let's start. Minimize this. Come back to our VS Code, Ctrl B, okay? Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna remove some code from here, okay? So remove these variables, we don't need them anymore, okay? So over here we can keep it. You need to change the font size from here, okay? And don't delete this. It's not working. That's because we also need to change these media queries from here. That's because we don't need them. So in total we have 4 media queries, from the project one. Delete them and don't remove the size from here, otherwise we can't see our width of our screen live. Okay, minimize this, just don't remove it and remove all of the code from here and then Control S. Back to index.html, don't remove the size from here. Okay, you just remove this text from here. Control S. Alright, so we are pretty much done. Back to the design. Now on the project you can see that we have the logo over here and the menu items over here. Let's consider this header. Okay, and the content over here, the image and this text over here is the main, and this one which contains the social media links will be our footer. Header, main and the footer. Okay, so in order to create them, come back to VS Code, and inside the container we're gonna create three classes with the class names of, we're gonna create three divs with the class names header, main, footer. So dot header tab, dot main tab, okay, and dot footer tab. So we have header, main and footer. Okay, so inside over here we're gonna write the logo and menu items. For this project I'm gonna use the BEM naming system. Even if you don't understand that, don't worry, just follow along. In the future video I will show you how you can use the BEM naming system. Now write dot header dash dash logo tab, and now over here we're gonna write the logo, which is Mia Ruma. Okay, you write Mia Ruma over here. And now we're gonna write the menu items. In order to do that, dot header dash dash menu, okay, tab. Hit enter, and over here you write dot header dash dash menu hyphen star 3. Okay, now it's gonna create us three divs. So over here you write 1, then 2, 3. Okay, you write over here home on a serially, okay, portfolio, and over here we're gonna write contacts. Alright, so we are actually done with our header section. We can minimize it. Control S. Let's go and see what we have created so far. We don't need this, and we have created all of this right now. Don't worry about them, we're gonna style them. Now we're gonna write the main section. Okay, so over here, now inside the main section we're gonna create two divs, image and text. So image will be over here on the left side and the text will be on the here right side. So in order to do that, write dot main dash dash star 2 tab. So we're gonna put the image over here and the text will be over here, txt. Okay, so we're gonna clip it. So we're gonna keep this blank because we're gonna use the background property, background image property, to insert the image over here. Alright, and inside the main text, what we're gonna write is main dash dash text hyphen star. How many texts do we have? Let's see, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So in order to write this 4, we're gonna create 4 divs inside over here, 4 tab. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So first one was hello and the hand wave. We're gonna go to Google and write hand wave emoji like this. You copy this icon from here, Control C, paste it over here, Control V, and over here we're gonna write Mia Ruma, and we're gonna write span tag over here in order to convert the text to red color. Okay, so SPAN span, and it's gonna create that automatically. We have to just cut it from here and paste it over here, Control S, and I'm a designer was the text, I guess. Let me check. A designer from Tokyo, Japan. DESIGNER FROM, and over here we're gonna write Tokyo, Japan. Let's see what we have created so far. So these are the unstyled text over here. We're gonna style them, don't worry. And now we also have to write something inside the footer. And first write .footer. We have 4 social media icons. Dribble, DRIBBLE. Was Dribble first? Let me actually check. No, sorry, Instagram is first. Instagram, Twitter. Okay, so Insta is first. Instagram, tab. Okay, and then over here we're gonna use the image tag to insert the image. And .footer. In order to create the remaining divs automatically, you hit *3 tab. Okay, Instagram, Twitter. What was next? I forgot. Dribble and Behance. So DRIBBB, 3 B's. Okay, don't forget that. DRIBBBLE, 3 B's. Okay, Dribble and Behance. Behance. Okay, so inside these tags, we're gonna create the image tag. Okay, img tab. So keep it blank for now. We're not gonna insert anything. img tab. Okay, img tab and img tab, Control S. Let's see what we have created so far. It looks quite ugly, but don't worry, we're gonna style them. Okay, so we're actually done with the HTML. Come to style.css and we're gonna target the classes over here. Okay, so write .container over here, and the header .main, and then .footer over here. Okay, so let's first style our header. Okay, Control S. But before everything else, you need to set the height, otherwise it's not gonna work. I have shown this to you on the first project. Okay, so H100VH tab. So Control S. And now let's go back. First things first, we're gonna use the display flex property. Okay, now back to our project. On the header section, let me actually show this to you live. By live I mean that let me write over here, let me show you over here. Okay, so you hit Control B. There is an extension named DeskPins, DESKPINS. So if you click over here, you can see that the window is vanishing over here. So I'm clicking here, I'm clicking here, the window is vanished. So what DeskPin does is, let me show that to you. Here is a DeskPin, let me enable it. Okay, so I'm enabling this pin inside this VS Code, and now let's click outside. You can see that the window is not vanishing, it is staying and on its place permanently. Okay, so now I'm gonna keep it over here and I'm gonna show this to you live over here, what is happening behind the scenes. Okay, so now inside the header we're gonna write dflex. Okay, Control S, and now you can see that this menu items were here and now it has shifted over here. The default value of flex direction is row, so write it anyways, even though there will be no changes. Flex direction row, Control S, and now we can see no changes because that is the default value anyways. And now what we're gonna do is we want the menu and the logo to be stretched from the very left to the very right. So in order to do that, inside the header you're gonna write justify content. Let me bring the VS Code over here so that you can actually see what I'm doing. Justify content, it will be a space between. Control S, and now you can see that the logo is over here and our menu items are over here. Okay, and now we also want our menu items to behave like a row instead of behaving like a column. In order to do that, if you can recall the menu items are inside the header. Which was that? So come over here, let me maximize it to show you how to write the selector for the logo and the menu items. To do that, and -- logo. Okay, curly braces. So this one is actually equivalent to writing dot header dash dash logo. I mean, look, so this and is actually getting extended from here to here. So this is actually a shorthand, I mean shortcut. That's why SAS is much better than regular CSS. Let's remove this. In the same way, we're gonna target the menu and dash dash menu like this. Control S, and now we're gonna style this. Okay, in order to do that, I mean in order to target that, what you have to do is you have to come to and dash dash menu. You write D flex tap and flex direction, set it to row, which is the default value anyways. Control S, and now we can see that this is styled like this. And let's change the font size as well for the logo and the menu items. In order to do that, you come to the logo and you write F size tab. Okay, for VW we're gonna use the VW units. Okay, VW, Control S, and for the menu we're gonna write 2.5 VW, F size tab, 2.5 VW, Control S, and we're gonna use some gaps between our menu items. In order to do that, come over here, you write gap 15 pixels. You can change the value as you like. Perfect, it looks quite good. Now what you are gonna do is you are gonna divide the screen between the rows. What I mean by that is you come back to VS Code, and over here on the header section you write H 10%. Okay, Control S, and then you're gonna create border. So in order to create the border, we're creating a border over here. That's because we want to see exactly what we are doing and where the code is getting applied. So write border 2px solid red, Control S, resize this, and now we can see that this is our header section. It is taking 10% of the entire screen, and we can see that how things are working over here. You can see that this menu items are not at the exact center over here. So in order to do that, you come back to VS Code and header menu. Not here, sorry. On the header section, you have to write align items center. So you write align items center over here like this, Control S, and now you can see that the items has moved from the top to the center. If I uncomment this, then you can see the difference. Okay, let me uncomment this, Control S, and now see the difference. Okay, let me uncomment this again, Control S, and now we can see that it has moved to the center again. We're gonna do the same thing for the main and the footer as well. So height, we're gonna define it 80%. 80% like this, Control S, and for the footer section, height of 10%. Okay, Control S. So 10%, 80%, 10%, in total 100%. And let's define the borders as well so that we can see what we are doing. Border 2px solid black like this, and for this section border 2px solid green like this, Control S, and let's see what we have done so far. So this is the main and this is the footer section. Over here we're gonna have our social media icons. Okay, now let's style them. First, let's insert the image. So in order to do that, come back to VS Code and let me just resize this so that you can also see the code and the result. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna click this small icon over here and minimize everything. Okay, and now everything will be on its position. Okay, so inside the main, first of all we're gonna target the image and then target the text. In order to target them, you write and dash dash image curly braces and then and dash dash text. So this one is targeting the text and this is targeting the image. Okay, curly braces, Control S, and inside over here you're gonna write BGI, you hit tab. Okay, so inside over here let me maximize this, and you hit Control B, and inside the images folder, so we're gonna use this image. This is the portrait of this young woman. There's one over here, this lovely lady. So you come over here. In order to target that exact image, you write /. You select this folder, images folder, and then in order to target that lovely lady, you're gonna write portrait.png or select this from here, and now it has. Alright, let's see, and now we can see nothing. That's because we need to set either the width or the height depending on the orientation. So in order to do that, come back to VS Code. First of all, you need to know the orientation, how we want it. We want the image to be here and the text to be here. Okay, so display flex will be, the flex direction will be row. Okay, so in order to do that, come to the main, and over here you write dflex. Okay, tab, and flex direction would be row, like this. Control S, and now we're gonna distribute the width 50% for the image, 50% for the text. In order to do that, this is the image. Okay, you're gonna write width 50% over here. Okay, let me maximize this. W 50%, tap, and then width will be 50% over here. Okay, tap, Control S, resize this, and now we can see the image over here. It looks ugly, but if you want to work around here, what we can do is we have to set the background size to contain, BGS, tab, to contain, Control S, and now it looks better, but it is getting repeated. In order to stop the repetition, you're gonna write BGR tab, which is background repeat, set it to no repeat, BGR tab, no repeat, Control S, and now we can see that the image is not getting repeated. And over here you can see this, there is no gap. Okay, it looks quite ugly. If you want to give some margin over here, resize this, come over here, you set it to, this is the 0 pixels for the top bottom. If you write 5 pixels over here, then 5 pixels of padding, margin is getting applied here. So first top bottom 0 pixels, left right 5 pixels. Okay, Control S, minimize this. Let's see what happens on our browser, and you can see that 5 pixels is getting applied over here. Alright, it looks quite good. Let's actually remove the border from the header because we're done with our header. In order to do that, come to the header and just remove them. Goodbye, Control S. Let's go back, and it looks good. By the way, whatever you have written so far is 100% responsive till 4K display. Do you want to see a demo? Let me show you. F12, hit F12, and you go to till 4K. You can see that even in 4K it looks good. Why is that? That's because we have used the VW unit, which is viewport width. That's why you can see that even on the 4K display it looks quite good. And look, I have defined no units for this text over here, not even over here. Do you even remember the font size of our width? It was just 35 pixels, and this is the default value, and this is 4VH, this is 2.5VH. Now the background size with the value contain, which is let me show you this line over here. Let me actually find this line over here. The background size contain itself is highly responsive. So even if you resize the window, you can see the image is getting adjusted according to the screen size. You can see that it is shrinking. At the same time, if you stretch the window, it's gonna enlarge itself so that it can fit the window well. You can see that it is working like that, and our fonts are also responsive. It is working according to that. If you resize the window, the fonts will get smaller, and if you resize it again, then it's gonna get bigger, which is highly responsive even on the 4K display. Can you imagine that? Okay, now come back to VS Code and let's work with our we're actually done with this section, the image, and we're gonna work with the mobile version at the very last. And first of all, we need to change the text. Okay, now you close the developer tools and you come to we can actually remove the border from here as well. Control S, and on the text which is inside this main, you create border so that we can see what we are trying to do. Okay, border, we're gonna set it to red color. Okay, 2px solid red, like this. Control S, and now we have the border over here so that we can actually see where our text are going. Okay, now let's come back to VS Code, and we want our text to be at the very center. In order to do that, you can either use the grid or you can use flexbox. So we're going to use the grid because I showed you both beforehand. Okay, you can use anything you want. So inside the text you write d grid, okay, and place. Oh, let's actually use the flex, okay, because a lot of you don't know how to use the display grid. So justify content center. Okay, align items, center, like this. Control S, and now we can see that the thing is actually behaving like a row, but we want it to behave like a column. In order to do that, we're gonna write flex direction, which was the default value. It was row. We want to write it column. Control S, and now it looks quite good. I mean, it looks much better than before. And now we're gonna give responsive font sizes to each of these text over here. Okay, so let's come back to VS Code, and if you can recall on our HTML, let's go to the main section. So the text actually looks, so the text have these classes. Okay, in order to target those classes, you come to the the dot main section and come to the text over here, and at the bottom of this you write and -1. It is targeting our hello text over here. Okay, let me actually resize this. So curly braces, you're gonna write it over here, and you're gonna set the font size to 10 VH, VW, not VH, VW, viewport width. Control S, and now we have a very big hello text over here. In order to target the remaining 3 lines over here, what you have to write is and -2, and -3, and -4 curly braces, and we're gonna set the font size to 5 VH. F size tab 5 not VH, VW. Okay, VW. Control S, and now it looks quite good. Yeah, it looks good. And I actually forgot to write something inside the text, inside the image over here, which is the background position. BGP tab, let me resize it. What we have to write is left and center. Don't worry, I'm gonna explain that to you. Okay, you write left center. Okay, Control S, and let me actually remove all the guides from here and just put guide on our image. In order to do that, you come to the image. Okay, you write border 2px solid red. Okay, and remove the red color from the text. Control S, and you minimize this, and you can see that our image, let me actually remove the black color guide as well, which is over here. Comment this, minimize, and you can see that we have some gap over here. Okay, that's because we're dealing with portrait images, we're not dealing with landscape images. Okay, if you hit F12, let me actually show you. If I resize the window, you can see that our image is at the exact center to the left, pinned to the left center. But if you remove that line, which you're thinking that this is unnecessary line of code, let me resize this, drag it over here at the top so that you can see. Let me comment this line of code, Control S, and you can see that image is moving from here to the very top over here. And if you uncomment this, Control S, and you can see that image is getting over here. But if you write bottom, it has in total 4 options: top, right, bottom, left. The first value, let me maximize this. The first value works on the x-axis, and the right value works on the y-axis. I have an entire video on background properties. Link will be given in the description down below. Go and check it out if you want to make responsive images for your responsive website. I hope that you understood the background position property. Now let's work with our footer section. Okay, you cross this developer options, you remove the guides from here. Okay, in order to remove the red colored guide, we can see it is here. Control X, Control S. At the bottom, at the footer section, you bring the guides over here. Okay, Control S. If you come back to the browser, we can see the guides over here. Up to this point, we don't need the width over here, so we can safely remove that. In order to remove this, you just come to the index.html. We don't need to remove anything except you just comment this line of code. Okay, Control S. You come back to the browser and everything is gone. And if you want to bring it back, you just uncomment this line of code over here and it's gonna come back. Okay, so far so good. Let's insert the images over here. So in order to insert the images, Control B. Okay, the images are over here. So in order to locate them inside our image tags, what you have to do is you write /images. Okay, slash, the first one is Instagram. So Instagram is over here, click this. Similarly, what you have to write /images/ this is Twitter. Okay, you write Twitter sign .png over here, and this is dribble. Similarly, follow along with me, images tab, enter. This is dribble. Here is our dribble, and our Behance / images Behance. Control S, Control B, and let's see what happens. Oh, you can see that this is extremely big. That's because this is 512 pixels each icon. So we need to we can see that this is behaving like a column. Okay, like this, but we want it to behave like a row. So in order to do that, come back to VS Code. It is actually the footer section. Okay, so you minimize this like this, minimize, and inside the footer section, in order to target all of them, you write dgrid. Okay, tab. The default value is flex. The default value of flex direction is row. Write anyways. Direction row. Control S. Minimize this, and we actually can't see any difference because it is extremely big. So let's actually reduce the size. Okay, in order to do that, you follow along with me. You write square brackets class equal to power sign equal to double quotes. You write footer FOOTER dash dash. What it's gonna do is it's gonna target all our classes which contains our images. Okay, and curly braces over here, and you write the image tag img curly braces, and you're gonna set width to 5.3 VW, which is the responsive size. Control S, minimize this. Let's see. Oh, it is actually not working. Why is that? Let's go and check it out. Oh, sorry, I wrote the wrong thing. Not grid, it's gonna be flex. Sorry. Let's go and check it out. Minimize this. It's working perfectly fine. Okay, the next thing that we're gonna do is, it is actually not at the center. Okay, in order to do in order to place it at the center, just like the header one which I explained to you on the header section. So what you have to do is resize this, come over, let's come over here on the footer. You write align items center. Okay, align items center like this. Control S, and it's gonna be at the center on the y-axis. Okay, and we're gonna place some gap between our icons. In order to do that, we're gonna write gap of 20 pixels. Okay, like this. Control S, and we can see that we have some gaps between our icons over here, and we're gonna place them on the right side. In order to do that, we're gonna write justify content right, or we're gonna write justify content flex end. Control S, and now we can see that it is over here, but we want this to be over here. not over here. In order to do that, we're gonna set some margin of 10 pixel. Margin right. Write with me. M right tab. Okay, margin right, set it to 10, not pixels, sorry, it's percentage. 10%, Control S, and let me minimize it, and you can see that it looks quite good. I'm gonna remove the guide from here. Okay, in order to remove the guide, you know the drill. We just remove this from here. Let's minimize this, and you can see that our website is done. It looks quite beautiful. If you hit F12, let's resize it. Even on the 4K display, it looks quite good. Let me show you. You come to 4K, you can see that you focus over here, it is written 4K. It looks quite good. And let's resize this using these guides over here. This is laptop large. Okay, it looks good. And let's go to laptop of 1024 pixels. It looks good as well. Let's go to the tablet version. It looks quite little shrunk. If you resize the window, then at some point it will look quite ugly. I actually forgot to remove the bottom from here. That's why it looks quite ugly. Come to the main and image. So left bottom, change it to center. Control S. Okay, it looks quite good right now. It is loading. Oh yes, it's over here. If you resize the window, at one point you can see that the text looks quite horrible. That's because it is very small and it is hard to read. That's why we're gonna create a custom media query for the mobile version. So in order to do that, we just keep it over here as it is, and we also need to change the design for the mobile version. Okay, so if you come to our Figma file over here, you can see that we don't have any menu items. We don't have any menu item options for our mobile version. Just the logo over here, no hello text, just the text of Miyaruma, a designer from Japan, and our social media icons. Pretty simple. So in order to implement that, first of all, you come to our VS Code. At the very bottom, okay, let me maximize this. At the very bottom over here, we're going to create a media query. So and media, we're going to set the max width to 650 pixels. Okay, max width of 650 pixels. Curly braces over here, and now we're going to target the header along with its logo and text. I mean the menu items. In order to do that, dot header curly braces, in order to target the logo, and dash dash logo over here curly braces, and in order to target the menu items, dash dash menu. Okay, so over here you're going to write display none, and it's going to remove the menu items on the mobile version. So D non tab, Control S. If we resize the window, so you look it over here. Okay, it's 320 pixels. Okay, if you resize it, you can see that there is no menu items over here, but if it goes above 650 pixels, then we can see our menu items. It is 646 pixels over here. You can watch it. You can see the menu items has reappeared. Okay, and if you go, and we can see everything, and now it is gone. Okay, now we want the logo to be at the very center. In order to do that, come back over here inside the media query. Inside the dot header selector, you write justify content center, and it's gonna center it to at the very center over here. Now come back to VS Code. We also need to change the logo font size. In order to do that, you write F size tab, change it to 40 pixels, Control S. Let's go back, and we can see our logo is 40 pixels and it looks quite good, but it's not responsive if we even shrink it. That is because it's gonna look very ugly if we use the VW unit. In a future video, I'm gonna explain to you all the possible CSS units and what it does. So make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you can get an update about the video. Now let's bring the image over here, and it will be circular. So in order to do that, come back to VS Code. Let's minimize this, the header section, and over here you're gonna target the dot main section. Okay, curly braces, and in order to target the image, you write and dash dash image curly braces. To target the text, you write and dash dash text over here, then curly braces, Control S, and we're not gonna see any changes because we didn't even do anything. Okay, resize the window, bring this back, and let me keep it over here so that we can see actually what happens. First of all, we need to change the orientation. It is currently on the row, but we want it to behave like a column. So in order to do that, come over here on the main section, you write flex direction column, flex direction column, like this, Control S, and then let's see what happens. We cannot see the image. Okay, so in order to bring back the image, you come to this section and you write width, set it to 200 pixels, and set the height to 200 pixels as well. Control S, let's see what happens. Here is our image, but we want it to be at the very center. In order to do that, come back to VS Code. You're gonna write over here, okay, justify content center, okay, and then align items center. Okay, I'm not gonna save it. Let me actually resize it so that you can see what happens if I save it after writing those code. So let me keep it over here. Wait a second. Let me Control S, and you can see the image and the text has appeared on the very center over here. Now let's resize our social media icons. In order to do that, come back to VS Code, come at the very bottom, okay, minimize this. This is not done, okay, we're gonna come back here and style it. Okay, so at the bottom, write dot footer like this, and in order to target all the images, you write square bracket class power sign equal to double quotes footer dash dash. Okay, then curly braces will be over here, and now you're gonna write image, and then we're gonna set the width to 45 pixels. Okay, and set the height to 45 pixels as well. PX tab, Control S. Now let's go back and see what happens. Perfect, but it looks quite ugly. That's because of the 10 pixels of, the 10% margin over here. Okay, in order to remove the margin, what you can do is come to the footer section over here and set the justify content to center. That's because previously it was on the left side. Okay, and set the margin to 0 pixels. Okay, now it's gonna work. Let's go back, and it looks beautiful. Now let's resize our text and make the image circular. So come back to VS Code, you minimize this. This is done. The header section is done as well. Okay, come to the main section, and over here you're gonna write border radius 100%. Okay, 100%. Control S, and we can see that we have a little bit of distortion over here. In order to fix that, what you have to do is you write BG S tab and set from contain to 100% like this. Control S. Let's see our changes. Now it's perfectly fine. Okay, we're done with our images. Come back to our VS Code. Oh, we also forgot to write the background position. It should be on the center. BGP tab center as well. Center like this, and it will be perfect. Let me see. Yeah, it's good. Let's resize our text over here. First of all, we're gonna set the width to 100%. Previously it was 50%. W 100% tab. Okay, Control S, and we're gonna remove the hello text. In order to do that, and -1 curly braces D none. Tap like this, and it's gonna remove our hello text from there. Let us see. Okay, previously we had the hello text. Now it is gone. Come back to VS Code. Now target the remaining 3 other text. In order to do that, write and 2, and -3, and -4. Okay, curly braces like this, and we're gonna set the font size to 30 pixels. F size tab 30 pixels. Control S. Now let's see our result. It looks beautiful. This is the mobile version. If you resize it, it's gonna give us the tablet version over here. Let's go to the 4K. It looks quite beautiful for the 4K version. You can also customize the gaps as you like. It is completely up to you. If you resize the window, then it looks beautiful and it resizes when we resize the window perfectly fine. This is the 4K view. This is the large laptop view. This is the laptop view, 1024 pixels. The tablet view, you can click this guides over here and it's gonna show us the result accordingly. And then the mobile view, this is the large. If you resize it, then it looks quite good as well. I hope you understood the second project. Now let's start the third and the last project. On the third project, we're going to be building this layout over here. So get your VS Code ready. Now come back to VS Code and remove everything. We don't need anything. Okay, Control S, delete. Control S. Okay. And on the index, what we are going to do is we're going to remove the container from here, because there is a lot of code, and you write container again, dot container tab. Okay, after removing everything inside the previous container. Okay, container. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna create 3 rows. Why is that? If you go back to our design, not here, this one. If you come back to our design, we're gonna create 3 rows right now, because we have row 1, row 2, row 3. That's why. So come back to VS Code, maximize this. You're gonna write first of all dot row 1. Okay, in order to write it quickly, you write star 3 tab. Okay, so we have row 1, 2, 3. Okay, and now inside the rows we're going to create 3 boxes. Okay, in order to do that, write dot box hyphen star 3 tab. Okay, you write 1, 2, 3, and inside here you write A, B, and C over here. Alright, similarly on the row 2 and row 3 we're going to create boxes, and then inside there we're going to create letters. Okay, dot box hyphen star 3 tab 4, 5, 6, D, A, F over here, and on the last row dot box hyphen star 3 tab 7, 8, 9, G, H, I. Okay, Control S. Let's go back to our browser and see what we have created so far. And it looks quite horrible, but don't worry, don't panic. We're gonna style them. Now come to our browser, VS Code. Come over here. You write star. First of all, remove all the default browser settings. Okay, M0px tab, P0px tab, Bosi tab, Bo tab. Okay, body, say to FF tab, sans. I actually did a mistake deleting the previous styles of our CSS. We should have not deleted everything. My apologies, my bad. And now for the font size, we're going to set it to 55 pixels so that you can actually see what is happening. F size tab 55 pixels, Control S. Let's go back to the browser and see what is happening. There we go, we have it. Now what you're going to do is we're going to individually target container, row, and box. In order to do that, you write dot container curly braces dot row curly braces. Oh no, not this one, sorry. You write square bracket class $sign equal to double quotes, you write row hyphen, okay, curly braces, and it's gonna target all our rows. In order to target all the boxes, curly brace it's square bracket class $sign equal to box hyphen curly braces. Okay, now the very first thing, we're gonna position our letters from being in a column shape to a row shape. In order to do that, maximize this. The letters are inside the box and the box are inside the row. Okay, so inside the row here. So what you're gonna write is D flex, not this one, sorry, D flex tab, display flex, set the flex direction to row like this, and the rows are inside the column. Okay, sorry, the rows are inside the container and inside the container the rows should behave like a column. In order to do that, D flex tab flex direction, set it to column like this, Control S. Let's go back. It looks quite good. And now we want to create boxes around our letters. So first things first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna set the height of our container. In order to do that, we write height 100 VH, Control S. And now in order to create the boxes, we have to set the color first. So BGC tab C4 C4 C4, okay, Control S. And now let's see what we have created so far. It looks quite terrible over here, but don't worry. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna set the width of these individual boxes and the height. So in order to do that, you're gonna write width. So first of all, bracket and write 100%. And in total, how many boxes do we have? We have 3 boxes. So divide the entire screen width divided by 3 for one column. For one row. Okay. Then save it. Let's go back to the browser and see what we have created. This is the result so far. And let's create some border so that we can see what is happening. So border 2 pixels solid black like this, Control S. And we also need to set the height as well. So height will be in the similar calculation, 100% divided by 3. That's because we have 3 boxes, 3 rows, 3 by 3 column. 3 by 3 grid layout, Control S. And let's go back to the browser, and it looks quite terrible. Why is that? I made a mistake over here. It's not percentage value, it's gonna be viewport height or VH. So write VH over here and let's see what is happening. It looks perfect. In order to position the text at the very center, what you have to write is come over to the box. At the bottom you write D grid, or you can also use the flexbox model as well, but I'm gonna use the grid. Place items, you write center, Control S. Let's see what we have done. It looks perfect as well. Now we're gonna create some gap between the rows. Okay, this is row 1, row 2, and this is row 3. Okay, between the rows it's gonna be 30 pixels gap. In order to do that, you write gap 30 pixels over here, Control S. Let's see what we have created. We have gap between rows, okay, but we also need gap between our columns, okay, our boxes. In order to do that, come here to the box, not to the box but inside the row, you write gap 30 pixels, okay, Control S. Let's see what we have created. It looks quite good, but if you want to give some margin around our entire container, what we can do is you come to at the very top over here, you can write 5 pixels of margin. Let's resize it, and it looks, you can change the value as how much you like, but for this I'm gonna set it to 5 pixels, okay. But let's actually set it to a little bit more. Let's see 30 pixels and let's see what happens. It looks quite horrible. Oh my god. Let's set it to 10 pixels and let's see. It looks good. Not quite bad, not quite good. It looks optimum, no worries. And now if we click F12, we can see that it looks quite ugly. If we resize it, we want to make a desktop version for this layout. So let's set our standards to 650 pixels. Okay, on 650 pixels we're gonna create this layout over here, the mobile layout. So in order to do that, come back to VS Code over here at the very bottom. Okay, over here you're gonna write @media and set the max width to 650 pixels like this, curly braces. And first things first, let's understand the theory. Okay, the rows are behaving like a column, okay, which is the behavior we want on a mobile version, but the boxes are behaving like a column, but we want the boxes to behave like a row like this. So we need to change the behavior of our boxes, the rows. Okay, in order to do that, come to our media query over here and you target the rows. Okay, class $sign equal to double quotes row hyphen, okay, curly braces, and you set the flex direction to column like this. Okay, Control S, and let's see what happens. Resize it. It looks quite good. It is actually not behaving as expected. So in order to change it, come back to our VS Code. You remove this line of code from here. We don't need it. Okay, keep the container inside the media query blank, and come at the very bottom over here. You write square brackets class $sign equal to double quotes, and you target the box. I mean all the boxes, and we're gonna set the width to 100%. Previously it was 33.33%. Let me show you. If you scroll up above the media query, it was the box over here. The width and height was 33.33 percentages each. Now we're gonna set it to maximum, which is 100% over here. Okay, so Control S, resize the window. Let's see what happens. It looks quite good as well. Let me resize the window. Okay, it is behaving as expected. I actually mistakenly uncommented the margin from here. Let me just bring it back, resize the window. It looks quite good, and you can see the result. So this is the mobile version. So we have successfully completed our third project. So we're done with the tutorial. If you like the video, give a like, share it with a friend, and feel free to subscribe. Till then, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.